A friend of mine, who I was privileged to win for Christ 50 years ago or so, he's 77 now. He said, Brother Wilson, you realize that you're just about 9 years from being 100 years old. How does it feel? That's a good question. So I answered him by singing. Just a few more days to be filled with praise and to tell the old story. Then when twilight falls and my Savior calls, I shall go to him in glory. I'll exchange my cross for a starry crown, where the gates swing outward never, at his feet I'll lay all my burdens down, and with Jesus reign forever. I was born, you know that of course, don't you? Nothing like important facts. Born on May the 26th, 1912. Born into a family of 7 children. I was number 5. That's the number of grace. I'm sure my mother needed it. My father deserted the family when I was 5 years old. So my mother became father and mother both. Raised the children. I graduated from high school, the first of the family that had the privilege of graduating. The others stopped to go to work. I graduated on my 17th birthday, May the 26th, 1929. I was an athlete. I played both baseball, basketball, and football. In December of 1931, I got saved at 19 and a half years of age. My pastor, J.C. Hoover, knocked on my door, and he's telling me all about this Bible conference and that they wanted somebody who could take care of the music both day and night. I was given 13 and a half minutes for the opening congregational song service, and then the director was going to be there on my side and have prayer or whatever. So when I finished, I go back to sit down in the only vacant chair. And I sit down between 2 gentlemen that I'd never seen before. And they were the guest speakers. And the one on my right side grabbed my arm, said, "Fine singing, young man, fine singing. I want you to come down to Fort Worth, lead my singing. I'm J. Frank Norris." Momentarily, the man on the left turned to me. "I'm John R. Rice." So that's where I met Dr. Norris and Dr. Rice, sitting right there between them. I never had seen them before, and I'm sure they had never heard of me before. But that's where I got the start. And the first preacher I ever worked with was named Sam. I went with Sam to a meeting to lead the singing for him, way out in the eastern plains of Colorado, at the Busy Bee Baptist Church. Sam had a lot of throat trouble. So I spoke for him half the time. Come the next year in March, I got a letter. They want us to come back again. You did half the speaking last year. Why don't you come and take care of the singing and do the preaching too? My wife said, "You don't suppose God's going to call you to preach, do you?" I said, "Listen, woman, God is all wise. He knows better than that." But you know, the people were nice to us, so I thought, well, I'll go back there in August and see what I can do. And so But that sowed a seed in my mind. And I didn't want to turn out to be a preacher unless God wanted me to be a preacher. So I'm going to pray, and I started praying. We prayed. You know, the Lord began to let me have this opportunity and that opportunity. And I've led some singing for some mighty big preachers, some mighty big crowds, and so forth and so on. But God called me to preach. And you can't get away from it. So I started.